Good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to be here with you all today. Thank you for this opportunity and just knowing and trusting that everything always unfolds in perfect and divine order. And even as I was putting this talk together and the opportunity to be able to have this talk, when I speak, I always tell people that when I get the topics, these topics start working me once I get the topic and know what the idea is. And this is true with this one, dealing with the working with our inner power and that inner power of truly connecting with that spirit, with spirit within, knowing that there is that within me that knows exactly what to do at any given time. And when I tap into that inner power, I know that all is truly well. Even in the midst of when I think that I can do this on my own, it's like, oh, I can handle this. How many times have you been in a situation? It's like, oh, I can handle this. It's like, I don't need any help with this. And something in the conversation, something in what the work that you're doing goes astray or goes awry. And then all of a sudden you get this, oh, that's not what I planned for. What do I do? And sometimes it's easy to go into, well, I've done this before. I can handle this. I have the power. I know exactly what to do. And you go and use what you think has worked before, and it doesn't work. Then it becomes, oh, what do I do now? My thing has always been when I get to that place, it's easy to go into that panic mode. It's easy to go into, well, I don't know what to do. How am I supposed to do this? This is when we get to tap into our power, into our inner power, that God power within us. And so what I do is I'll go in and I'll ask, it's like, okay, Spirit, obviously my way is not working. So can you help me out a little bit here? And there is the information, that answer that comes to you. And it seems like when you get that answer, it's like, oh, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Oh my gosh, let me go do that. And there's something with that answer that we get within us that empowers us to move forward, to take that big step, that big leap. There are times sometimes where, and I can speak for myself, I have permission to do this, is that there are times when I feel like I don't have the power to speak up sometimes. And I don't know how many of you have been in that kind of situation, sometimes with work or with in relationships, with family dynamics, significant others, whatever it may be. And there's this tension that happens. And sometimes you feel that you can't say what it is that you want to say. So it's like you've given your power to this other person. And that's not the case, because when you do that, how does that feel inside for you? How does, when you give your power to someone else, you're not allowing your voice to be heard in these moments? How does that feel within you? I know for me, sometimes there's something that I start feeling really small, because then it's like, well, I just can't say anything. I don't have any words for it. Or with work, well, if I say something, then I may lose my job. Or if I say the wrong thing, then they may look at me strange or funny or whatever it may be. And even when I first started ministry as a minister, and I started speaking at different venues, different centers. And my thought mind, I started thinking, who will listen to what it is that I have to say? And I realized that in those times, in those moments, is when I disempowered myself, that I thought that I was not good enough. But that was my ego. The ego will tell you at times, oh, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? And how many times do we listen to that egoic voice? This is that time when we really step into listening to that power, when we go within, when we connect with spirit within us and listen to what it is that spirit is calling us to do. Because what I know is that these opportunities that we get, we've been called to them. I look at it, I've been called to being a minister. Even in my place of resistance, I was like, nope, not doing it, not happening. No. And it's been 6 years now that I've been a minister. And I'm grateful for this because in this place, even as a practitioner, it's allowed me to remember to tap into that inner knowingness within me. There is the quote that was read, the Alice Walker quote that was read, and it says, the most common way people give up their power is thinking that they don't have any. How many times have you been in that situation where you felt like you don't have the power to make a change? You don't have the power to make a difference in the world. You don't have the power, whatever it is, fill in the blanks. But the thing is, you do. We all do. We have a power to do something different. We have a power to change generational curses. We have a power to heal ourselves. We have a power to go in and correct within ourselves that thinking that says we can't do it. That thinking that says, who are you to do this? Even no matter what it is that we've been through, those opportunities, I've always felt that they've been the challenging opportunities that have shown up that have felt like disempowering moments for me, has allowed me the opportunity to think back now and think about how stuff that's happened in my childhood, how it's coming up into the adulthood, and how I have the power to bless that past situation, to forgive those individuals that are been a part of that past situation, whether it's parents or siblings or whatever, whomever it may be. The things that may have happened in the past, we have a tendency as adults to hold on to them in the present. And they play out in our present moments. And when we get to that space of thinking what someone did to us in the past, it creates a disempowering moment when we're thinking about it now, because if we allow it to affect us in a way that shuts us down, that has us playing small, we've given that past situation more power than where we are in our present moment. And in this right now moment, in this present moment, we get to breathe into these incidents that have happened. You know, I have a situation that has come up for me in regards to not feeling settled where I am or where I have been. And up until now, that situation has changed. And when I sat with it and I thought about where in my past have I not settled, how am I allowing something from my past to now affect me presently? I went back to my childhood and things that happened in my childhood that allowed me to feel unsettled in what was supposed to be a comfortable home for me, did not feel comfortable. And so I realized that in that space, that in this present moment, how that has played a significant role in my life, in my adult life. And it's been decades that situation has happened. And for decades, it's been wreaking havoc in my life, not knowing, not being aware of why my actions that have taken place, why I've moved around so many different times, and even when I was in Savannah just recently, before I left, not feeling settled in the home that I had, grateful for the home that I had, but there was something that was within me that kept allowing me to not feel comfortable in my home, because there was a part of me that felt like I'm not going to be here long. There's something that sort of moved me out of here, and I don't know what. And that was the case. There was something that moved me out of Savannah back here to the Bay Area. There are a number of reasons. But what I realized was that I had been in my home there in Savannah for about 4 years. And what I realized was that it took me a year to really make that my home. But I never thought about tapping into seeing what is it within me that was not allowing me to feel settled in this space. And so as I'm thinking about this, I realized how much power I was giving to the people in the past, and how much I was allowing that thought process to not allow me to live my life full out, to be in this place, to be able to say, this is home. Wherever I am is home. But also to remember to trust spirit within me, because I really had to go in to check to see what was it that was bringing up these old thought processes. And that was the thing that kept coming up, was that I'm still looking at this little girl who went through all of this stuff in the past. And I brought this little girl into my present moment. So I had to go in and do some forgiveness work, some healing work with my family, healing work with myself, even with that little girl who didn't feel safe, to be able to go in and have a conversation with her and to relook at the situations that were happening, and even say to that little girl, or to whoever the perpetrator was, to say, no, this child is safe. This child is at home. This child has a space that she gets to call home. And she loves it, and she has an amazing life. So imagine, as this adult, having this conversation with the perpetrator and with this little girl that's there. For me, it became such a shift in my awareness that there was this energy that kind of lit me up. It's like, oh, heck yeah, I can do this. I can feel settled wherever I am. I can feel at home. And I don't have to give my power away to certain situations. Just think about, how many times have you given your power away? And sometimes we don't even realize that we're giving our powers away. But when we go small in situations, we're giving our power away to people, places, circumstances, events. It doesn't matter. This is that time that we get to step into the space of remembering who we are and whose we are. That we have that divine power within us, that creator that created us. And it knows exactly what it's doing with us. And it's asking us to trust it. Spirit is asking us to lean into me. Allow me to guide you. When we are in that space of feeling powerless, we feel like sometimes that we can't move forward, that we can't do anything right, that it seems like everything is just going against us. And then put that same situation, when we turn it over to spirit within us, when we go within, when we go into meditation, when we go into prayer, even when we go to practitioners or ministers to ask them to do treatments for us. How many times have you felt, when you've gone into that space, that situation has changed? That moment, it has shifted you into a way of your yes. Because when we're in that place of tapping into our inner power, it's like, it's like Wonder Woman or Superman or something. We feel that we're invincible, that we can do anything. and in our minds, because we get to create and set our intentions for that we are desiring. And are we creating those intentions from a place of powerlessness or powerfulness? We get to choose. Are we setting intentions based on what someone else wants us to do? Or are we setting intentions based on what feels right and perfect for us? I recently had an opportunity to work with the company, because since I've been back, I was like, okay, I need to have some work. And I realized that it was comfortable for me to go back into what was familiar for me. And so I applied, and they interviewed me, and then they hired me. But there was something within me that was not resonating with this company or with this position. And I realized I was in that place of, let me do what's comfortable for me rather than what I'm being called to do, rather than stretching myself into something else. And so in that moment, I was giving my power to this company. And because I'm like, oh, I need to, I'm going to have some money, and they have this and this, but it wasn't feeling right. And so I realized that I had to come back and turn down the position. I had to stand in my power for what felt right for me and turn down that position. And that felt like it was one of the best opportunities that I had. And so now it's like I'm still, in this process of trusting Spirit that the perfect outcome is unveiling, is being revealed to me. And I get to step in my power of, what does that look like? How am I to do this? And so I remember when I was here in the Bay Area, and the center that was a part of, we would have this prayer. And it was such a powerful prayer because it reminded us of our own inner power. So what I invite for you to do is to be in that space, to remember those times when you feel like that you don't have your power, that you've lost your power, you're giving your power away. And to tap within to that inner knowingness and ask Spirit, what is it that I'm to know about this situation? How do I stand into my power? And for those of you that are doing this, great, because you knowing how to do this, you get to teach others. You get to support others in standing in their power. So as I move into the space of wrapping this talk up, I am grateful because this has allowed me this morning at this time that it is here to stand in my power and to know and trust Spirit will always send me the right and perfect words to speak. Because although I've written up a script of what I was going to say, I had to trust that divine power within me to be able to just speak and trust and know that whatever it was that I needed to say was going to be the right and perfect thing. That's standing in your power, because that's listening to that inner spirit. And so I'm going to close this talk with this prayer. And it comes from, I don't know how many of you have it. It comes from this book called Your Needs Met. And what I invite you to do in this moment is to just allow your eyes to close if you choose to. And just listen in as I read this prayer. And it says, God is the only power in my life. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life of God within me. No past experiences have power over me. I am a perfect child of God, and nothing that anyone else has ever done or said can interfere with my divine inheritance. The power of God is greater than any circumstance in my life. The strength of God is mine to use. Turning away from the feelings of inadequacy, I discover that all that I need is within me right now. As I forgive the past, I find that I have nothing to atone for, nothing to run away from. As I cast off the old me, I discover my true self. I take dominion in my life. Old habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. Personalities have no power over me. I take dominion. I am whole. I am free. I am complete, now and forevermore. And so it is. Thank you.